Komura is a lonely loser, and being a virgin he has fallen in love blindly with a half-blinded girl. I mean guys, she is half-blind when she has no glasses. But when he finds out, she is really cute but school's #1 weirdo. So it all starts when the class gets shuffled around and Komura ends up sitting next to Mai, the clumsy queen of the room, with the eyesight of someone who probably thinks the earth is a big dick. One day, she shows up without her glasses and Komura notices how weirdly adorable she looks squinting at literally everything. When he takes his seat, Mai tells him to just ignore her intense eye struggle since she can't see a thing. Komura is caught off guard, she's never even spoken to him before. He starts wondering how someone that blind manages to leave the house without realizing she's missing her glasses. But surprisingly, Mai says this kind of thing happens all the time. Komura, being down bad, decides he's gonna help her out however he can. During first period, Mai asks if he can help her find her history textbook. Komura gets ready to move in, but suddenly remembers, being a virgin, how to satisfy her. So instead of risking it, he just slides his own book her way and pretends like that was the plan all along. Mai thanks Komura and slides over to share the book, but he panics like it's a boss fight and blurts out for her to just use it alone. She's confused and asks why, but Komura can't exactly, so now they're awkwardly sharing. He's doing his best to hold it together until Mai suddenly dips her head right into the book. The way she leans in reminds him of a girl on the internet who is licking lollipop very happily. She basically buries her whole soul into the pages, and Komura starts thinking about building a shrine around it later. As terrifying as it was being that close, he was kinda happy they at least got emotionally closer. He figures she'll forget he exists by tomorrow anyway. But then Mai walks right up to him, gets super close, and asks who he is. Komura tells her his name, and she just casually goes back to using his book like it's no big deal. After class, Komura is still trying to recover from being within lip range. He can't stop thinking about how pretty her eyes looked, but snaps himself out of it before his face turns into a burning pan. Later, he spots Mai sitting near the lockers, looking kinda lost. When he asks if something's wrong, she goes, "Who's talking to me?" Komura reminds her, "Hey, it's me, the dude from class." Once she recognizes him, she explains her shoes feel way too big. That's when Komura notices his locker is wide open and realizes she's wearing his shoes. A few minutes earlier, Mai's friends offered to help her find her stuff and head home, but she said she had it handled. Problem is, when she opened her own locker, she didn't recognize her shoes, so she just started checking everyone's until she found one that looked about right. Komura is completely stunned, she's literally walking around in his shoes. And deep down, he kinda wishes he was the one she was stepping on. Mai apologizes for the whole mix-up and starts taking the shoes off, so Komura offers to help find her real ones. When he pops open her actual locker, there's just this chunky frog chilling on top of her shoes. Mai, half blind, thinks the green blob is just part of the shoe design and assumes they're not hers. Komura tells her to look away for a sec, does a quick frog removal operation, and hands her the shoes. She instantly figures out there was a frog involved, but powers through and puts them on anyway. Komura throws on his own shoes, and the wildest day of his life finally starts to calm down. Right as they're about to head out, Komura suddenly stops Mai and lets her know her shoelace is untied. A few seconds later, he's down helping her tie it like some kind of loyal sidekick. Mai gives him a warm thank you and says she'll totally return the favor someday. But in Komura's head, he's thinking he should be the one saying thanks for the accidental front row ticket to Skirt City. Mai seems genuinely thankful for everything Komura did that day, and he's just standing there, replaying the entire timeline in his head like it's his favorite movie. Loki, he wishes he could screenshot every moment and slap it onto the shrine he's mentally building in her honor. Out of nowhere, Mai gets up close again, like way too close, and Komura starts glitching out. But she calmly tells him she just wants to remember what his face looks like so she can pay him back one day. Problem is, she might as well be staring at a soccer ball. With a straight face, she admits she can't actually see him and tells him to properly show himself some other time. Turns out, Mai lives super close to the school, which explains how she's managed to make it there alive without her glasses. That night, Komura felt kinda guilty about how much she enjoyed the whole thing. But Loki hoped she'd forget her glasses again. And boom, next morning, like magic, she shows up blind again. Komura's shook, thinking maybe he cursed her or something. But then he hears her mention she actually stepped on them this time, and he's relieved to know her empty brain's not his doing. Later, it's time for gym class, and Komura's wondering why Mai's even trying to play when she can't see a single thing. Mai casually mentions she doesn't even know what team she's on. That's when Komura's fully convinced he might have actually hexed her. Trying to undo the damage, he decides to play bodyguard and stands in front of her like a human shield, just in case a ball comes flying. Mai stumbles right up behind him for cover, which freezes Komura like a statue, and because of that, he's the first one to get wiped out. In the next class, Komura's wiped out from gym and just trying to stay awake. But then he sees how laser-focused Mie looks, buried in her textbook like it's the meaning of life. Inspired, he decides he should probably get it together and follow her lead. That's when the teacher suddenly calls on Mie to stand up. Komura turns to give her a heads up, only to realize she's completely knocked out. She's straight up asleep at her desk, and even funnier, she starts mumbling in her sleep about protecting Komura. That's when it hits him, she must have overdone it during gym and passed out trying to push through. The teacher keeps calling her name, and Komura starts freaking out. He wants to wake her up, but his hand's doing its best impersonation of a shy anime protagonist. In the end, he chickens out and just blurts out that Mie was only leaning in close to her book cause she can't see. Somehow, the teacher buys it and moves on, giving Komura a little more time to gather the courage to do something. Anything. Right then, Mie wakes up on her own and starts fumbling around, asking where her glasses went. She stares right at Komura and casually calls him dad, but not a type of dad what you think, guys. Komura figures she must still be half asleep. But weirdly, he's not totally mad about being called daddy. Before he can process any of that, Mie starts nodding off again and gently leans onto his shoulder like it's a pillow. Komura freezes. A girl is touching him. A real human girl. He mentally thanks the heavens for this divine gift, until the teacher pulls a jump scare and smacks her awake. The next day, Mie shows up with that same classic squint plastered on her face, and Komura instantly knows, yep, she forgot her glasses again. She leans in super close to him, and Komura is just grateful she can't see how hard he's blushing. That is, until she casually drops the bomb that she's wearing contacts. Meaning, yeah, she can see everything now, including his goofy, flustered face. Fast forward to the next morning, Komura and Mie get stuck on lunch duty together. And surprise, surprise, she forgot her glasses again. Somehow, they thought it was a genius move to put the nearly blind girl in charge of dishing out food. The result? Everyone's tray looked like they were being served lunch and dinner in one go. Komura offered to take over lunch duty for Mie, thinking she probably shouldn't be serving food while practically blind. But she was stubborn about doing her part, and Komura, being weak for her cuteness, gave in. He asked her to at least try dishing out smaller portions. Unfortunately, she took that a little too literally and served up something that could barely feed a hamster. Komura asks if she's actually doing okay, and Mie casually says she's just getting really hungry herself and can't wait to dig into some stew. When she asks Komura if he likes stew too, he gives the classic it's alright, but says he's more of a curry guy. Right then, a chubby kid, basically a meat-loving Oliver Twist, walks up begging for seconds. Komura mentally prepares to slap the calories off him for putting Mie in an awkward spot. Mie, trying to be nice, convinces the kid to settle for more potatoes instead. He's happy with that. But since her aim is tragically off without her glasses, she ends up dumping mostly meat on his plate anyway. Eventually, their shift ends, and both of them are pumped to finally eat. Komura starts wondering if Mie was sneakily trying to save some of the good stuff for herself. But just as he's thinking that, Mie walks up and hands him his tray with extra meat. She says she kept a little aside just for him, to pay him back for everything he did the other day. Komura's stunned. She actually remembered her promise to repay him, and she really did it. Then she asks again if he really likes stew. At that moment, Komura basically becomes a stew believer. Suddenly, stew is his favorite food on earth. Mie tells him to keep their little meat dealing operation a secret. But joke's on her, the whole class definitely saw it go down. After all that hype, everyone finally sits down to eat, only to discover the entire meal is basically just a mountain of potatoes. Fast forward a week, everyone's back at school, and yep, Mai's back to her usual chaos, once again forgetting her glasses. This time, though, she pulls out her contact lenses and starts complaining about how much she hates wearing them, especially the annoying part where she has to take them out. She insists she needs to get used to them anyway and awkwardly tries to shove them in. But when Komura sees how much she's struggling, he gently tells her not to push herself and promises that he'll protect her instead. The whole class just freezes like, wait, what was that? But Mie tears up and thanks him like he just saved her life. That moment hits Komura so hard his soul pretty much ejects itself from his body. Next morning, Mie finally shows up with her glasses on. But for some reason, she's still full on pouting. Komura starts sweating, wondering if she somehow sniffed out how down bad he really is. He asks why she's squinting even with her glasses on, and Mie explains it's because the air outside was stuffy and now her lenses are fogged up. Komura just stares at her like she's never heard of wiping them off, but Mie insists it'll clear up once they're inside. That's when another student rolls in wearing thick foggy glasses too, and Komura starts wondering if glasses secretly repel brain cells. Mie suddenly points and goes, wait, who's that? There's a stranger in our class. Komura tells her it's just another student, probably new, but definitely not a ghost. Mai starts wondering if people ever struggle to recognize her when she's wearing glasses, but then says the only person she really wants to be recognized by is Komura, and just like that, his soul takes another first-class flight straight out of his body. Later on, Mai casually asks Komura for his contact info, and this man nearly lands on the moon. They swap contacts, and Mai explains that since she always forgets her glasses, she might need his help again sometime. Komura asks why she doesn't just hit up a family member for that kind of thing, but Mai says it's way too embarrassing to admit stuff like that to them. But for some reason, she's fine showing that side of herself to Komura. Meanwhile, Mai's just chatting away like nothing happened, saying she's gotten used to having Komura around. Meanwhile, Komura, he's in full survival mode, barely holding himself together while she casually sets his heart on fire. One day, Mai randomly texts Komura and asks him to meet her at the station. The second he reads it, he literally falls out of bed, wondering if Christmas miracles were still dropping in January. Later, he rushes to the station and, of course, finds Mai in classic form, standing there without her glasses, looking totally lost. She explains that she accidentally dozed off on the train, panicked when it stopped, and somewhere in the chaos, her glasses vanished. She says she urgently needs to get somewhere and asks if he can help guide her there. Komura suddenly realizes, wait a second, does this count as a date? His brain short-circuits with joy, and he starts making weird little celebration noises to himself. He quickly agrees to help, and that's when Mai grabs his hand and tells him to lead the way. Komura tries to keep it cool and not look like he's internally screaming, and somehow manages to track down the shop Mai was looking for. Turns out, all this chaos was just so she could eat some cake. While she's struggling to spot it on the table, Komura, half joking, offers to feed her. He immediately panics, thinking he might have crossed a line, until Mai casually opens her mouth wide like she's ready to take a lollipop. Komura's brain goes into monk mode. He's suddenly wondering if he needs a lollipop or dessert in her mouth. But time's ticking, and someone else could swoop in if he doesn't move fast. So instead of backing out, he mentally imagines himself as a stepdad and give his lollipop to her. Sorry guys, I means cake to her. After that, they make a stop at the glasses shop, and Mai explains she'd ordered some new lenses ahead of time. When she tries them on, she lights up, finally able to see clearly again, while Komura's busy wondering how to bottle his right hand's DNA for scientific preservation. Once he snaps out of his nonsense, he thanks her for the fun day and tries to head out. But Mai grabs his hand again and says she wants to hang out a little longer now that she can actually see him. So they wander around some more, having a chill time. When it's finally time to part ways, Mai thanks him again and says she'll see him at school. Komura's convinced he must be dreaming, but after a quick pinch check, he knows it's real. Meanwhile, Mai's walking home, thinking about how surprisingly sweet Komura was to just let her drag him around all day. She realizes she had fun, but more than that, she had been looking at him the whole time. A few days later, Mai shows up to class rocking her glasses and a face mask, explaining she caught a cold. Komura immediately worries her foggy lenses will cause another disaster. Then her fellow blind buddy walks in with the exact same setup and instantly gets called a creep by the others. Later, when Komura returns to his seat, he finds Mai again, this time with no glasses, and says she accidentally forgot them. Again, on his way to school the next morning, Komura spotted Mai making soft little cat noises on the sidewalk. He barely held himself back from recording what he was dangerously close to calling private study material. But then he looked closer to see what had her so fascinated, and it turned out she was meowing at a plastic bag. Not wanting his adorably blind queen to die of embarrassment, Komura snuck up behind her and started pretending to voice the bag. Mai reached out to pet the cat, and just when Komura thought his cover was blown, she ended up patting him on the head instead, asking where the cat went. Later that day, Komura was frozen in place when he spotted the most popular guy in school, Azuma, helping Mai search for something. Yep, she'd forgotten her glasses again. As they searched, Azuma gently placed a hand on Mai's back, and Komura almost suffered a full system shutdown. When they finally found the item, Komura couldn't help but scoff, but also kind of hated himself for wishing Mai belonged to just him. Then, out of nowhere, Mai turns to Komura and thanks him for always helping her out. Azuma laughs and reveals, "Yeah, that's not me." Mai's eyes widen as she realizes how casually she'd been talking, and turns red once she notices the real Komura standing right there, having witnessed all of it. Next day, Mai's friends are in full disbelief that she's once again left her glasses at home. They tease her, saying all the squinting might give her permanent frown lines. Mai, now self-conscious, starts practicing raising her eyebrows like she's fighting off forehead wrinkles. Komura walks into class and greets her like usual, but when she turns to face him, he's hit with a moment of awe. Her eyes look beautiful, even without perfect focus. Sadly, the magic fades fast as she goes right back to squinting like she's staring into the sun. The rest of the day, Komura drifts through school in a daze, replaying that one perfect glance over and over until he gets in bed that night and play with his joystick. The next day, Mai asks Komura to help her practice a game called Shiratori. Komura's nerves spike instantly, but being the absolute doormat he is, he agrees anyway. They start the first round, and Mai complains that he's going way too easy on her. She tells him there's no point in practice if he doesn't bully her a little. Komura swallows his pride, turns up the heat, and starts going all in during round 2. Mai quickly starts struggling to keep up and, in the middle of it, randomly blurts out Komura's name, which catches him totally off guard and short-circuits his brain. The game ends, the drama settles, and the class that had been watching like it was a live soap opera finally loses interest. Later, the two end up stuck with cleaning duty after school, but Komura doesn't mind. He's just happy to spend extra time with her. That is, until he spots a cockroach crawling right next to her. Instant internal panic. He wants to warn her, but also doesn't want to make her freak out, especially since she can't even see the little menace. Thinking fast, he calls her over and tells her to come closer. She walks up, way too close, close enough to kiss him. Just before Komura's soul leaves his body, another student spots the bug and screams, scaring Mai right into Komura's limp noodle arms. A few days later, during a rainy morning, Komura walks into class to find Mai squinting at her desk like she's forgotten her glasses again. He points it out, and she says she did forget them, only for Komura to notice they're literally sitting on top of her head. When he tells her, she knocks them off by accident. Komura rushes to grab them, and as he hands them back, Mai closes her eyes and leans in, waiting. Like she expects something more, Komura's brain shuts down. For a second, he wonders if she's waiting for a kiss until reality hits and he realizes he's just holding her glasses. Trying to be smooth, he gently slides them onto her face, only to miss and nearly put them on her mouth. Mai still thanks him sweetly while Komura tries not to pass out. Later, two girls are talking about delivering a letter, but one of them drops it on the way to class. Mai finds it and picks it up, curious. Komura walks by, sees her staring at it, and asks what's up. She shows him the letter and asks who it's for. He checks and sees it's addressed to Azuma, basically the real-life version of Sasuke if he didn't go rogue. Komura spots the heart sticker and knows it's a love letter. Mai casually asks who sent it, and once he tells her, she heads off to deliver it. In class, she straight up hands it to Azuma in front of everyone, and Komura watches in horror as Azuma assumes she is the sender. As if that wasn't brutal enough, some girls come up to Mai and ask if she likes Azuma too. Mai, totally misunderstanding the question, just says, yeah, I do. And just like that, Komura's heart gets body slammed. While Azuma steps out to read the letter, Komura trails behind him, needing to see his reaction, and maybe emotionally prepare for the worst. Komura tries using the ancient art of intense staring to somehow telepathically tell Azuma that the letter wasn't from Mai. But when he sees Azuma smile all happily at the note, Komura starts spiraling. He wonders, if the letter didn't have a name on it, would Azuma even know who it was from? Still, Komura comes to the conclusion that he's way too average looking to ever understand what goes on in a pretty boy's mind. Back in class, the girls keep gushing over how cute Mai and Azuma would be together, wishing them all the best. Meanwhile, Komura is silently wishing those girls would just shut up and let him mourn in peace. But then a horrible thought hits him. What if this isn't a misunderstanding? After all, Azuma is basically the human version of ice cream, cool, smooth, and stupidly likable. While Komura is mentally combusting in real time, Azuma, who's been watching this meltdown unfold, gets a mischievous idea. Eventually, Mai notices how gloomy Komura looks and gently asks if he's crying. Komura lies through his teeth, saying he's totally fine. Then, trying to play it cool, he asks what she thinks of Azuma. Mai just blinks and goes, "What's with everyone today?" She admits she likes Azuma, but Komura immediately starts overthinking what kind of like she means. Then, out of nowhere, Mai says she wouldn't be surprised if people started asking if she liked him, meaning Komura. He asks why she'd say that, and she shyly explains that she's gotten really attached to him, actually likes him. For a brief second, Komura's heart lifts, but then he realizes that somehow made things even more confusing. Just then, Azuma walks up to Mai and casually hands her a note, his reply. Komura looks like his soul just left his body, but things get worse when Mai turns to him and asks if he can read it for her. Azuma, of course, is standing there all smug, nodding like he's just waiting for the drama to unfold. Now Komura is sweating bullets, wondering if the note is about to crush what's left of his fragile heart. Bracing for the emotional wreckage, Komura opens the letter and reads something he never expected. Azuma wrote that Komura likes Mai too. Azuma then strolls off with a smirk, already telling the rest of the class what actually happened, clearing up the confusion like he just wrapped up an episode of a rom-com. Meanwhile, Komura is still standing there in total shock. Mai looks up at him and asks, "So, what did it say?" The entire class leans in, waiting for the answer, but Komura chickens out and says nothing. A few days later, on a cold morning, Komura rushes over to grab some coffee and spots Mai struggling at the vending machine. He figures at this point she's just fully given up on ever using glasses again. He asks if she'll be okay buying her usual warm cocoa without seeing the buttons. Mai insists she'll manage and says something that sounds weirdly like her mom. But then she takes a sip and immediately coughs. Turns out she didn't get cocoa. She grabbed black coffee. Mai offers it to Komura, but he freezes like she just handed him a bomb. She assumes he also hates the taste of pain and says she'll drink it herself, but Komura quickly insists on taking it. Just as he grabs the can, it hits him. Wait. Indirect kiss. Instant panic. He freezes again, then nervously says, "Actually, I don't really like black coffee either." One morning, Komura rushes to school, already running late, only to spot Mai also sprinting down the street. He gets all excited thinking, nice, we're late together. But when he tries to greet her, she blows past him like he's a random NPC. That's when he realizes, yep, she's blind again. As they reach the side of the road, Komura notices her hair's kind of wild and her skirt slightly lifted in the back. He nervously lets her know, and Mai immediately apologizes for the accidental flash. She then sighs and says she didn't want him of all people seeing her looking like a mess. As she dashes off ahead, Komura drops to his knees mid-sidewalk, having a full-blown emotional meltdown. Later, he ends up escorting Mai to the nurse's office after she tripped and broke her glasses. Again, surprisingly, it was Azuma who suggested that Komura take her there, which makes Komura wonder, is this guy secretly rooting for him? The two of them walk side by side, and while Komura is freaking out over how close they are, Mai's quietly worrying about something else, her weight. But Komura doesn't care how much she weighs. If love had mass, his feelings would still be heavier. At the nurse's office, Komura tells her to lean on something while he grabs a chair. He turns back and sees her using the scale for support. Komura quickly panics and suggests she lean on literally anything else, until he sees the number on the scale. Mai realizes what just happened, turns red as a tomato, and begs him to forget it ever happened. Later, Komura catches her struggling to change something on the board. When he asks what she's doing, she says the teacher asked her to fix the display, but she's already out of breath trying to reach it. Komura offers to help, full of short king confidence, until he stretches up and can't reach either. Just as reality sinks in, Azuma casually walks over and gets the job done like it's nothing. Komura mumbles that he wishes he was a little taller, but Mai smiles and tells him not to change. She says if he were taller, she wouldn't be able to see his face so clearly. She adds that even if she can't see him, she always knows it's him just from his voice. And with that, Komura hopes he never grows a single inch. The next day, Komura finds Mai crying and panics, but she quickly explains she was reading something with her classmates and ended up laughing so hard that she cried. Komura is relieved she's okay, but also disappointed. He missed seeing her laugh that hard. He wishes he could ask someone what she looked like in that moment. But for now, he settles for watching how cute she looks when she's sleepy instead. One afternoon, one of the students spots a heart-shaped cloud, and everyone runs to check it out. Well, everyone except Mai, who, without her glasses, can barely see her own hand. Komura notices her looking sad about missing the sight and decides to fix that. Later that night, he sends her a picture of the cloud. Mai absolutely loves it. The next day, Komura's wandering the halls on a mission to find Mai's glasses, because of course, she managed to lose them somewhere in the school. A random girl suddenly calls out to him, saying she found Mai's glasses at the sink in the girls' bathroom. Since he sits next to Mai, she decides he can return them and, for whatever reason, plops them right onto his face. The moment the glasses touch his eyes, Komura's world starts spinning. The poor guy's vision goes full chaos mode. And just when things couldn't get worse, Mai walks up and sees him, kind of blurry, standing there in a very suspicious looking position with the girl. As the girl says his name, Mai freaks out and rushes over, shoving him aside like she's protecting her honor. Afterward, she apologizes for making a scene, while Komura's brain is still rebooting in safe mode. The next morning, Mai surprises him by actually wearing her glasses. Komura realizes that when she can see just fine, she doesn't really need his help, and maybe that's for the best. After all, every time she gets close, he nearly flatlines. But then Komura forgets his textbook and asks if he can share hers. Mai happily slides over to him, thrilled to return the favor. But the moment she looks up, she realizes just how close his face is whenever they share a book. Komura instantly hides behind his hand before he collapses from another mini heart attack. That weekend, Mai drags him to a glasses shop to help her choose new frames. Since they're just for the frame fitting and not prescription, she can't see how she looks in any of them. Normally, her dad helps, but he's not around this time. Komura realizes this is kind of a big deal, but completely fumbles it by calling every pair cute. Even he knows he's being useless at this point, so he finally blurts out that she looks cute no matter what she wears. That does the trick. Mai just settles on her usual style. Next day, she tells him she slept on her new frames and broke them. Classic Mai. Later that weekend, Komura heads into town to grab some ketchup. While there, he spots a booth selling Valentine chocolates and starts daydreaming, wishing Mai would give him some. That's when Mai actually appears out of nowhere. At first, she hears someone call her name and gets excited until she realizes it's just Komura. He's happy to see her outside her uniform, but also confused how she got there without glasses. Mai says she knows the area well enough, so she's fine. Then she asks what it was he wanted her to give him. Komura realizes if he says it out loud, it's basically a confession. He starts scrambling to change the subject, but one look around tells him the entire town is decked out in Valentine's decor. Yeah, there's no way she's not going to catch on. Just then, Mai looks around at all the red decorations and innocently asks if the town's under renovation. Komura thanks the heavens for blessing her with the purest airhead energy imaginable. He quickly says he needs to stop by the supermarket, hoping to steer the convo far, far away from Valentine's Day territory. At the store, Mai says she needs to pick up some mayonnaise, and Komura instantly starts overthinking how walking through aisles with her like this feels like married life. His little fantasy bubble pops fast when Mai points at a big, fancy display nearby and asks what the red-themed attraction is. Before Komura can make something up, she suddenly remembers the thing he wanted her to give him earlier. Komura starts mentally begging every higher power for a miracle escape from this gravy pit of doom. Right then, he hears someone shouting about free samples and jumps on the distraction, asking Mai if she wants to check it out. But the moment he sees that it's Valentine chocolates, he's convinced this is the devil's work in disguise. Just as one of the sample ladies is about to say something, Komura slides in with a note, cuts her off, and drags Mai away by the hand before she gets a chance to mention the holiday. He quickly apologizes for being so abrupt, but Mai just smiles and says his hands are really warm, unlike hers. She adds that cold hands are perfect for making chocolate, and Komura, now visibly sweating, asks if she plans on making some soon. Mai casually mentions that Valentine's Day is coming up and finally puts two and two together about all the red decorations. Komura panics and tries to change the topic again, but Mai hits him with the real question, wait, did you want me to give you chocolates? At this point, Komura would rather sign a deal with the devil than risk a direct rejection. But before he can spiral any further, Mai, being the beautiful space cadet she is, misses all the signs and says she'll be giving chocolates to all her friends, including him. Komura nearly collapses from the relief. It wasn't a love confession. But hey, friend zone chocolates are still chocolates. Valentine's Day finally rolls around, and Komura sits quietly at his desk, waiting patiently, like a loyal puppy, for his pity chocolates. Mai makes her way through the classroom, handing out chocolates to all her other friends. Then she finally walks over to Komura, but when she checks her bag, her face drops. She realizes she's completely out. Mai looks genuinely upset that she forgot to save one for him, while Komura tries to pretend it's fine. In his head, though, he's already accepting defeat and thinking, maybe next year I'll qualify for some sugar. But then it hits him, he doesn't want to be stuck in the friend zone for another year. He actually starts hyping himself up to confess. And then, he remembers what his face looks like in a mirror. Never mind. Confidence instantly deleted. Just when he's about to mentally retreat into the void, Mai surprises him by asking if he has time after school. Later that day, she takes him aside and says she wanted to give him something, so he wouldn't feel left out. Problem was, her brain short-circuited and she couldn't think of a gift in time. So instead, she tells him he can ask her to do one thing. Anything. Komura is completely shook. After a moment, he finally asks her to listen to what he has to say. He gets ready to spill his heart, but freezes, wondering if confessing might ruin everything between them. But then again, it's now or never, and she can't even see his face clearly, so it's not like she'll catch him sweating bullets. Komura tries to speak, but his voice gives out. He ends up apologizing for chickening out and promises to tell her another time, when she can actually see his face. Mai simply says, "I'll be waiting." Komura wonders if she already knows what he was trying to say, but then she grabs a little snack from her bag and hands it to him as a substitute chocolate. In that moment, Komura realizes something as sweet as she is. Mai is still as dense as her glasses are thick. About a month later, Mai checks her weight, and the numbers aren't giving good news. She notices a few extra pounds that weren't there before, and let's just say she's not thrilled. The next day at school, Komura plans to give her some chocolates to return the favor for Valentine's Day. But when he sees her, she looks like her soul has left her body. Mai tells him she may have gone a little too hard on the Valentine's sweets and is now trying to lay off the sugar. She asks Komura to stop her if she ever catches herself going full dessert demon again. He agrees, but now he can't exactly give her the chocolates he brought. Talk about bad timing. Right then, Azuma strolls up and casually hands Mai some thank you cookies. Mai visibly starts battling temptation, so she reaches into her bag to grab a cough drop instead, except Komura notices it's actually one of the cookies. She lets it slide, blaming her glasses situation, which is fair enough. But Komura starts noticing she's getting weaker by the second. When she reaches for another cookie, Azuma gently warns her again, and she pretends she didn't see him. Komura feels like something's fishy. Then another student offers her chocolates. Mai raises them to her mouth, and it clicks, she's definitely doing this on purpose. Determined to hold her to her word, Komura insists he'll help and offers to hang on to the sweets for her. But right as he thinks he's won, Mai cracks, convinces herself that one bite won't hurt, and goes straight for a cookie. Komura watches in horror as Azuma gets ready to claim sweet victory, until Komura blurts out that maybe she should have his instead. Instant regret, but Mai's too far gone. She beams and thanks him, happily eating his chocolate without a second thought. Whether he did the right thing or not, still unclear. Next morning, Komura sees Mai staring at something again. She explains she finally filled up her sweets point card and needs to drop it in the mail. The only problem, the nearest post box is in an area she's never been to before. Komura naturally offers to take her. Mai's caught off guard but agrees. Just then, some classmates invite Komura to hit the new arcade after school. He gets hyped for a second until he remembers he has plans to try escaping the friend zone. So, he turns them down. Later, though, Mai's mood totally shifts. She starts giving off major dark energy and finally tells Komura that she doesn't need his help anymore, he should just go home. Worried, Komura says it's not safe since she doesn't have her glasses. Mai flips the script and says she's wearing contacts. Yeah, right. When the teacher calls on her to read aloud, Komura watches closely. Mai stares down at the book, pretending to read, until she points to a character that clearly has too many strokes. She knows if she messes this up, Komura will insist on walking her again. So she fakes a cough, and somehow the teacher lets her off the hook. After class, Mai spots a notice saying they'll be switching classrooms for the next period. A few classmates offer to walk with her, but the moment she imagines Komura pointing out how much help she needs, she panics and bolts out of the room. Before Komura can chase after her, his friends remind him it's the release day for a new set of special games. They ask if hanging out with Mai is really more important than that. For a second, Komura considers choosing bro before woes, but then he remembers the totally lost look Mai had earlier and immediately ditches the idea. Meanwhile, Mai ends up in the completely wrong classroom. She admits, quietly to herself, that doing things alone isn't as easy as she thought. But deep down, she didn't want to stop Komura from having fun with his friends. Just then, Komura runs into her and pretends he got lost too. Smooth cover. He suggests they head to the right classroom together. Mai tries to play it cool but finally confesses that she couldn't see. She says she didn't want him to give up a fun day just because of her. That's when Komura realizes she's been acting weird all day because of him. Things get extra mushy when Mai says she actually likes having him around. Really likes it, and maybe wants him all to herself. Komura's brain completely shorts out, and Mai tries to save face by saying she'll just go to the post box alone. But Komura insists on going with her. He's still worried, and decides she's important to him. Mai ends up posting her card at a closer mailbox near the school. On the way back, she asks if Komura's into arcade games. He says yeah, not because of the games, but because it's one of the few places he can zone out without anyone bothering him. As he watches Mai head home, Komura realizes something: she lives close to school. If she really wanted, she could have gone home to grab her glasses. But she didn't. Maybe, just maybe, she wants to be around him too. Since their little errand ended early, Komura actually gets to meet up with his friends at the arcade afterward. A few weeks later, the school year wraps up, and Komura realizes how fast time flew by. He briefly wonders if he's getting old, even checks his spine like it's overdue for maintenance, but then quickly remembers the only thing that really matters: Mai. He's already worried she'll trip over something while half asleep again. That's when the teacher announces the recipients of the Perfect Attendance Awards. Both Mai and Komura get called up. As they walk to the front, Komura hears some students joking that he looks like a side character in a Tyler Perry movie. He tries to ignore it until he glances at Mai. She's walking with her signature death glare face. He suddenly panics. If she goes up on stage looking like that, people might start making assumptions. Mai leans over and tells him she's nervous having so many people watching them. Komura wants to help her relax, so he mentions a pressure point in her hand she can press to calm her nerves. Mai just sticks out her hand and says, "Do it for me." Komura tries his best to stay focused, but when Mai says it tickles and tells him he can press harder, he starts trembling under the pressure. Mai, seeing his struggle, offers him a trick too. She tells him to think about flapjack octopuses, because apparently, time goes faster when you're thinking about something cute and fun. He lets her hand go and notices she actually looks a little less tense now. Even if people misread her serious face, Komura knows that soon enough, they'll realize how genuinely beautiful she is. When it's his turn to go up, Komura realizes how nervous he is too for a piece of paper. He decides to try Mai's trick and starts thinking about flapjack octopuses. And weirdly, it helps. As Komura zones out, he realizes all he's thinking about is Mai, and maybe that's why the school year flew by so fast, because every day his mind is stuck on her. It's been a whole year since he first noticed her beautiful, slightly dysfunctional eyes. Now, Mai's standing right beside him, casually saying she's looking forward to spending another year with him. Later, they head to class to check out the new seating chart. Komura starts stressing about where Mai will end up, and more importantly, who she'll be sitting next to. When he finally draws his seat number, it turns out he's in the exact same corner spot as last year. He sighs in relief and heads back to his usual hideout. Meanwhile, Mai ends up near the front, right next to Azuma. Komura tells himself Azuma will be a good help to her and definitely convinces himself he's not even a little jealous. Totally not. As he quietly battles his inner demons, his new seat neighbor glances over, trying to figure out what kind of weirdo she's been paired up with. Across the room, Mai asks Azuma where Komura is, and he casually points to the back corner. Mai immediately turns and stares straight at him, which makes Azuma laugh. Back in the corner, Komura is spiraling. Azuma's giving off pure alpha energy, and it's crushing his soul. To make matters worse, another student comes over and tells Mai she's actually in their seat. Turns out, Mai read the chart wrong. Azuma tries to help guide her to the right spot, but when he grabs her hand, Komura practically sees the afterlife flash before his eyes. The girl next to Komura tries to start a conversation again, but he's too busy melting down to respond. Full ice mode. When Komura finally sees Mai's new seat closer to him, he lets out a breath of relief and actually acknowledges the poor girl next to him with a quick intro. But Mai keeps glancing his way, and every time she looks at him, Komura feels a little warmer inside. Eventually, he starts thinking about when she'll look again, and whether she'll get caught not paying attention. The girl next to him, done being ignored, suddenly gets up and walks straight to the front of the class to ask the teacher if she can switch seats. Mai immediately agrees to the swap, stunning Komura. For a second, he thinks maybe she just wanted to be closer to the board. Makes sense, right? Once Mai gets settled into the seat beside him, Komura awkwardly asks if it was really the best choice. Mai casually explains she didn't want to sit in the front because if she accidentally dozed off, the teacher would notice. And plus, if she kept turning around to look back too much, she might get in trouble. Komura is completely floored. He wants to ask if she meant him, if that's why she switched, but the words won't come out. So instead, he just sits there, his heart doing backflips, and pretends he's not dying inside. A few days later, the art teacher has everyone pair up for a portrait assignment, draw each other face to face. Classic. Mai, of course, forgot her glasses. Again. But Komura is so whipped he's already decided that whatever she ends up scribbling, he's gonna treat it like priceless art and tape it to his bedroom door. Mai leans in close to get a better look at him but quickly realizes that drawing him blind isn't gonna work. So she tells him she's just gonna sketch him based on how she imagines him in her head. Komura starts sweating instantly. Whatever image she's got of him in her mind is about to become real, and possibly cursed. But surprisingly, the drawing turns out pretty decent. Cute, even. Unfortunately, the teacher says they can't take the drawings home. Komura dies a little inside. Later, while Mai's in the bathroom, another student walks in and starts casually chatting. But the convo gets weird fast. The girl gets way too close and starts commenting on Mai's eyelashes and how soft her skin looks. It's giving major boundary issues. Mai walks out of there feeling seriously weirded out, and the awkwardness lingers in her brain like a cursed image. Later, back in class, Komura walks up to her like normal, and Mai instinctively leans in. But the second she remembers that bathroom encounter, she stiffens up and steps away like she just remembered what personal space is. Some days later, Komura rushes home after school, looking suspiciously sneaky. Why? Because he brought Mai home with him. Well, kind of. It was just her glasses. About 30 minutes earlier, Mai had taken them off when her friends invited her to walk home. She forgot them on her desk, and when Komura came back to grab his stuff, he noticed them sitting there. His first instinct was full-on panic until he remembered, wait, I have her number. He texted her, and Mai told him to just leave the glasses there. But Komura, being Komura, said he was worried for their safety and offered to take them home himself. She agreed, and that's how Komura ended up walking around with her glasses in his bag like he'd just stolen someone's most intimate belongings. He swore anyone who saw him would think he was carrying off a trophy. His mom, seeing him act all jittery, just shrugged and blamed it on weird boy energy. Later that night, Komura placed the glasses gently on a shelf and tried to focus on his homework. But every time he looked at them, all he could see was Mai's face. Safe to say, his concentration completely evaporated. Komura pulls out a pack of tissues. Chill guys. He just wants to clean Mai's glasses. At least, that's what he tells himself. But somewhere along the line, he ends up holding them up to his face, trying to cosplay as Mai. And the moment he sees himself in the reflection, instant regret. Meanwhile, Mai's at home studying with her backup glasses. After giving them a good wipe, she randomly starts wondering if the pair Komura has still has her fingerprints on them. Then she spirals a little, worrying if maybe his fingerprints are on them instead. Back at Komura's place, the poor guy has just finished scrubbing every inch of her glasses clean, wiping away any traces of DNA like he's on a crime scene cleanup crew. That's when his phone buzzes. It's Mai. He nervously answers the call, instantly panicking over whether she somehow found out about his little cosplay moment. But nope, she's just calling to ask one extremely Mai-style question. Hey, are my glasses being a good boy? Komura almost drops the phone right there. Komura doesn't love the idea that he was just sitting there, tenderly wiping down a good boy. Something about that phrasing starts to make him feel a little too flustered. Mai then casually says that her glasses being at his place kind of feels like she's visiting. Komura's brain instantly short-circuits. The images start flooding in, her standing in his room, skirt looking suspiciously shorter than usual. By the time he hangs up the phone, Komura's being haunted by the ghost of girlfriends he's never had. Needless to say, sleep was not on the agenda that night. Weeks pass. Mai keeps up her classic routine of forgetting her glasses and getting way too close to Komura's face just to see him properly. But one day, she leans in a little too far and slips, falling right on top of him. She apologizes quickly, saying she leaned over too much again. Then she randomly mentions the time she got so close to someone, their lips actually touched. Komura's reality shatters. But before he can pass out from shock, Mai clarifies it was her dad. Komura nearly flatlines from emotional whiplash. He worries she's noticed how red he is, but Mai is too busy panicking, begging him not to think she's some kind of indecent girl. Komura wonders if she's actually flustered too, but immediately gaslights himself back to reality. On another morning, one of the students points out that Mai's rocking some serious bedhead. There's no time for her to fix it in the bathroom, and even though another girl says it looks kinda cute, Mai isn't buying it. Komura can tell it's bugging her and figures she's not gonna be convinced easily. But then, she turns to him and asks what he thinks. He tells her honestly, it looks fine. Surprisingly, Mai accepts that answer with a small smile and agrees. Komura's left wondering if he just slipped into a dream world. Later that day, Komura's shoulders are sore, and Mai notices. Without skipping a beat, she offers to give him a shoulder rub. Komura panics, imagining a scenario where his pants betray him the second her hands make contact. He tries to refuse, but Mai insists and ends up giving him a surprisingly solid massage. Komura, in full survival mode, has to picture his grandma doing jazzercise just to keep things under control. Afterward, Mai jots something down in her notebook. Komura asks what she's doing, and she explains she's keeping a list of the things she can do for him even without her glasses. Then she flashes him a smile so powerful it nearly bends time, and tells him that when she does have her glasses on, there's nothing she can't do for him. Some other day, Mai walks into class and finds Komura completely knocked out at his desk. She tries waking him up for the next period, but when he doesn't move, she gets curious. She starts poking around, exploring the wonders of the male species, apparently. When she starts fiddling with his hand, Komura wakes up and immediately realizes why his dream took a sudden turn into dangerously wet territory. Mai, red-faced, admits she just wanted to get a proper look at him with her glasses on. But as the embarrassment sets in, she tries to balance the moment out by giving him a flirty little pass. Well, you can look at me too, if you want. On a random rainy morning, Komura meets up with Mai on the way to school. She groans that she's forgotten her glasses for the millionth time, and naturally ends up stepping right into a muddy puddle. By the time they make it to school, Mai is totally grossed out by her soggy socks. She tells Komura to turn around while she takes them off, and he respectfully does, until he accidentally catches a glimpse of her bare feet. He immediately spins back toward the window, praying he doesn't awaken a new fetish and end up bankrupt on some weird corner of the internet. A few days later, Komura finds Mai alone at the park, sitting on a swing like she's in a drama scene. He asks if something's up, and she explains she forgot her keys and is waiting for her mom. Then, she looks up at him and says, "Can you push me?" Komura's whole system crashes. Touching a girl's back before marriage. That has to be against some law. He settles for gently pushing her by the shoulders instead. As she swings back and forth, he starts freaking out again. What if she's flashing someone? He slams the brakes on the swing and blames the wind, trying to keep her modesty safe. Then he notices how close their faces are and panics. He jumps back, only for Mai to casually say she's wearing shorts under her skirt. Then cheekily gives him a mini peek for proof. The next day at school, something falls out of Komura's locker. Mai picks it up, and Komura nearly faints. It's one of the expensive game cards he blew half his soul savings on. Mai asks what it is, and Komura, forever grateful for her bad eyesight, blurts out, "It's an apple card." Later at lunch, Komura beats himself up for lying, but Mai seems zoned out, thinking hard about something else. Out of nowhere, she offers him a slice of apple. Komura, still stuck in his guilt, insists she should eat it instead. That night, Komura wakes up to his phone buzzing. It's Mai. He answers groggily, thinking she's calling a friend, But when she hears his voice, she gasps and apologizes for waking him. Komura, trying to sound cool, says he was already up. Mai hangs up, then calls back again seconds later. Now fully awake, Komura asks what's going on. Mai explains she's at a sleepover and had to go to the bathroom, but it's super dark and creepy, and she left her glasses behind. She chickened out halfway. Komura asks if there's a light switch nearby. Mai goes to check but suddenly says her hair ribbon got stuck. Komura completely loses focus, brain spiraling over the image of Mai in pajamas. Before he drifts off into Fantasyland, Mai pulls him back. "Can you sing something for me?" Apparently, they watched a scary movie and she needs a distraction. Komura, out of ideas, starts singing the school anthem. It's the dumbest move he's ever made, but at least it makes her laugh. Suddenly, he hears his mom nearby and immediately plays dead. Mai's voice comes through the phone, confused. "Hello, Komura." Trying not to get caught, he whispers back, and the sound flusters her so much she completely shuts down. Once his mom leaves, he returns to the call, and Mai is still laughing at him for choosing the anthem. Komura tells her to use her phone flashlight, and she finally manages to find the bathroom. Right before she mutes herself, she quietly whispers, "Komura," and just like that, he's spiritually launched straight to the floor. Afterward, Mai finally makes it back to her sleepover bedroom and apologizes for bothering Komura so late. He tells her he was already up, total lie, and secretly wishes they could talk until sunrise. They both say their goodnights, but the second the call ends, Komura lifts his blanket and starts thinking about Mai's pajamas in vivid detail. Meanwhile, Mai snuggles close to her friends like she's trying to escape sleep paralysis demons. A few days later, it's pool day. Komura's already on edge because, surprise surprise, Mai forgot her glasses again. He starts freaking out, wondering how visually challenged people even function in a pool. Like, do they just guess where the water is? As he watches her from the sidelines, Mai pulls out a pair of goggles. Komura stares, praying their prescription. His daydream is interrupted when one of the guys taps him and tells him he might want to blink. He's been staring way too hard. Meanwhile, one of Mai's friends whispers something that makes her blush instantly. Komura's curiosity spikes, but he's too chicken to ask. Later, while walking home, Komura steps out of a convenience store and spots Mai snacking on something by herself. She turns and quickly asks him to keep it a secret. As he tries not to get distracted by her lips, he notices the stick from her snack. It's one of those that can win prizes. And she won. Just as she's about to toss it, Komura grabs her hand and stops her, cueing another awkward moment. He explains she actually got a winning stick. Mai, a bit flustered, asks, "Do you get happy when you win stuff?" Komura says, "Yeah, of course." She smiles, hands it to him, and says, "Then you take it," before happily walking off. The next day, Komura's waiting at the front of the school when he sees a stray cat. Naturally, he follows it. The cat leads him to the back of the gym, where he suddenly spots Azuma talking with a girl. Panic sets in, and Komura ducks behind a wall before they see him. He tries to quietly shush the cat, but the feline lets out the loudest meow ever recorded in human history. Too late. They've heard it. Just then, Mai appears from the other side, following the cat's trail. Komura starts sweating bullets. If they see all three of us back here, it's going to look like a messed up love square. Luckily, the cat walks straight over to Mai and starts rubbing up against her leg. Komura watches and quietly thinks, must be nice, being a cat. But right then, the girl talking to Azuma confesses to him, loudly, and Mai hears it. She pauses for a second, then goes right back to petting the cat like it's none of her business. Komura watches, unsure if she's just unfazed or quietly disappointed. He wonders what it would even be like to confess to her. Would she react the same way? Suddenly, the cat makes a beeline for some storage crates, and Mai follows without realizing how sketchy the area is. Komura snaps out of his head, grabs her hand, and quickly pulls her back right before she disappears into cleaning supply limbo. At the same time, the girl finishes confessing, and Azuma gently, but clearly, turns her down. For the next class, everyone gets split into groups to plan their field trip project. It doesn't take long for the boys to notice that Komura has already locked onto Mai again with laser focus. "Bro, just go join her group," one of them says. Komura tries to deny it like usual, but the others tease him even harder. What if she forgets her glasses again? "You've got emergency support duties." He starts wondering, is that really how everyone sees us? The boys burst out laughing at his face, which tells them all they need to know. Komura admits he does want to be in her group, but walking up to her alone feels like trying to solo a boss battle. Luckily, the group limit is 6 people, so the guys offer to tag along. Only catch, Komura still has to be the one to approach. Meanwhile, across the room, Mai is also caught sneaking glances at Komura. Her friends immediately tell her not to forget her glasses this time. Mai says she plans to stash a spare pair in her bag just in case. Why not do that all the time? One of the girls asks. Mai admits she just likes having a backup pair at home too, gotta keep the bases covered. That's when one of the girls smirks and teases, "Why not just ask Komura to carry one for you? You've been glancing over at him this whole time anyway." Mai, blushing, quietly says she would like to be in his group. Right on cue, Komura walks over. Before he can say anything, one of the girls takes the lead and cheerfully invites Komura and the guys to join their group so he can keep Mai alive, she jokes. She also warns them that Mai has a habit of spending like a tourist and spacing out mid-conversation, so they're gonna need Komura's magic touch to keep things on track. Mai quickly jumps in, saying they can't just pressure him into it. But Komura shrugs and says, "Actually, we were already coming to ask if we could join you." Mai's eyes light up, and she says it'd make her really happy if they all teamed up. With both groups now merged, they start brainstorming ideas for the trip. As the discussion rolls on, Mai leans over and asks Komura why his group chose hers. Komura smiles and replies, "I was just hoping we could go together." Mai blushes and says, "Funny, we were thinking the exact same thing." She tells him she's really looking forward to it. And just like that, the field trip planning begins, with one very soft, shared moment between two people who are clearly thinking about the same thing, but still pretending they're not. That night, Mai digs around her room, finally finding her spare glasses and tossing them into her bag. She tries to get some sleep, but her ADHD has other plans. As she lies there, her brain starts spiraling. She remembers all the times people have called her an airhead and worries she'll just end up being a burden on Komura again. Meanwhile, the next morning, Komura rushes into class, totally out of breath. He tells everyone he overslept because he was too hyped for the trip to sleep early. Moments later, Mai strolls in late too and explains that she tripped and broke her glasses on the way, but luckily, she brought her backup pair. At the buses, while they wait to board, Mai pulls out her spares. Komura starts sweating all over again, worried that disaster's about to strike. But Mai reassures him she's really looking forward to the trip. Then she puts them on. 1 second later, she freezes. Turns out, she grabbed a fake pair of glasses she bought on a whim one day, and left the real ones under her bed. At the museum, Komura figures out what's going on. Mai's been pretending she can see, but she's probably disappointed and too embarrassed to admit it. While he's thinking that through, she suddenly trips right into his arms. Komura goes full steam mode, but manages to keep his cool. He spots an exhibit that doesn't require perfect vision to enjoy and gently leads her over to it. Mai realizes what he's doing and feels guilty for forgetting her real glasses again. But Komura reassures her she didn't technically forget this time. He then adds that he enjoys helping her out. He immediately regrets saying it because, wow, that sounded way too romantic for his weak heart. The cheesiness almost ends him on the spot. Mai thanks him sweetly but tells him not to worry and that he should go explore too. Komura starts overthinking. Did she just push me away? Did I gross her out? Now he feels like crying. Later, Mai walks up to the wrong group of students, mistakes them for their class, and awkwardly apologizes. She ends up sitting alone on a bench, and Komura finally finds her. Turns out she texted him for help, so she was flustered after all. Mai apologizes again, saying that trying to do everything on her own just made things worse. Komura tries to comfort her, but she breaks into tears. She says she's tired of depending on him and doesn't want to keep causing trouble. Komura sits beside her as she keeps apologizing, calling herself a burden. But he doesn't know how to explain that she's never been that to him. He thinks back on all their moments, the laughter, the awkward stumbles, the closeness, and suddenly knows what to say. He tells her he wishes she forgot her glasses every day. When she asks why, Komura leans in and says it's because he likes helping her, and she should never worry about needing him. On the bus ride home, Komura sits quietly, spiraling again. She hasn't said a word. She definitely hates me now. But without looking at him, Mai hides her face and quietly says, "You're too nice." Then she reaches out and places her hand on his. Komura goes full tomato mode as she smiles and says, "That weird glasses thing you've got going on kinda made me happy." The next day, Mai can't stop thinking about what Komura said on the bus. He wishes I forgot my glasses every day. She figures he was just being sweet again, like always. Still, she decides it's time to stop relying on him so much. Determined, she whips out her contact lenses like she's about to enter her final boss phase. When Komura walks into class, ready to awkwardly address his weird semi-confession, Mai stops him in his tracks. She proudly shows him her contacts and says she's trying to be more dependable. Komura's relieved and quietly impressed. He takes his seat, low-key proud of her growth. Later, Mai's friends ask why she's suddenly so pressed about forgetting her glasses. Just then, Asuka gets a text from some guy. When Mai asks if she got close to him, Asuka straight up bolts from the classroom. Her friend grins and declares she's totally in love. Mai, however, doesn't quite get it. One of the girls reminds her of Asuka's whole face turning into a tomato moment and says she likes him in a special way. Later, Mai walks through the halls still trying to understand this whole love thing. She mutters that it's kind of confusing. At the teacher's office, she randomly bumps into Komura again. He asks how her contacts are treating her, and Mai, being fully honest, says they're uncomfortable and that she actually prefers when he helps her instead. Suddenly, she pulls him close and tells him to look her in the eyes. When she sees how happy he looks, she freezes. It's the same look she saw on Asuka. Her eyes widen. She stammers something and runs off. On her way home, she thinks, if I'm special to him, that'd be nice, because he's special to me too. The next day, you guessed it, she forgot her life support again. Komura offers to share his textbook, and Mai's in a surprisingly good mood. She even tied her hair up in a new style. Then, mid-class, Mai suddenly leans in close to his face like she's examining a rare creature. Komura's like, ooh, what's happening? But before he can ask, she bolts out of the room. Cue chaos. Enter the blonde menace, a girl who spots the scene and immediately accuses Komura of trying to kiss Mai's soul out of her body. Thankfully, another classmate steps in and vouches for him, explaining that that's just what Mai does when she forgets her glasses. The blonde girl, disappointed, says, "Awa, so you haven't even made out yet." Komura dies internally and wonders if the entire class thinks they've been sneaking kisses this whole time. When Mai returns, she tries to get close again, but Komura leans back and claims he's feeling sick. Immediately, Mai rushes to grab a face mask for him. Once he puts it on, she resumes her close-range eye contact like nothing ever happened. During music class, Mai once again violates the concept of personal space. Komura's too busy worrying about the people watching them, wondering, why does she even want to stare at my plain old face? Later in gym, the blonde girl won't stop teasing Komura about the non-kiss scandal. Mai watches from the sidelines, looking downcast. She ends up zoning out, trips over a basketball, and the class rushes to help her. She winds up in the nurse's office, and after the nurse steps out, Mai thanks Komura for showing up. Komura starts panicking, hoping no one misreads the situation, especially with how red his face is right now. Then Mai turns to him and casually asks what he usually does on weekends. Caught off guard, Komura says he mostly just hangs at the arcade. Mai says her dad doesn't let her go alone, but she sneaks out sometimes. She admits she just wanted to talk to him, since he's been busy with Little Miss Bigtails lately. That's when Komura realizes he's been neglecting Mai, the one who's been quietly struggling. Mai asks if she can look at his face once a day, whenever she forgets her glasses. Komura asks why, but she just fidgets and says he doesn't have to if it makes him uncomfortable. He tells her he doesn't mind at all, and says she can look at him as much as she wants. Mai lights up and takes him up on the offer immediately. Her first viewing session begins. Komura, of course, completely short-circuits. During cleanup duty, Mai helps Komura put the tools away, but in classic Mai fashion, she manages to get her hair stuck in the locker door. When Komura points it out, she casually suggests cutting it off with scissors. Komura hesitates, but Mai's completely unbothered, saying she used to cut her hair all the time. He goes to grab the scissors but instantly begins internally combusting. How do I cut a girl's hair without triggering a life event? Mai, calm as ever, asks if he likes her hair long, but Komura's too deep in panic mode to even register the question. Eventually, he snips it loose and pretends he didn't just have a mini heart attack. Later in class, Mai tries to tie her hair up but drops her hair tie. Komura swoops in and picks it up like a knight retrieving a royal artifact. Mai, unfazed, asks him to help tie her hair instead. He locks in maximum focus mode and somehow manages to do a pretty solid job. Mai smiles and says she wishes it could be like this every morning. Komura nervously asks, at school? She goes, nope. Cue the mental girl math. Komura.exe has stopped responding. A few weeks later, on a rainy day, the class preps for the cultural festival. Mai walks over to Komura with some weird smudge on her face. He tells her she looks like she just crawled out of a horror movie and she quickly wipes herself clean. Then she casually asks if he wants to take a break. Komura says he'll rest after he finishes his current task, but Mai keeps hanging around like she's got nowhere else to be. When she offers to help, Komura gets suspicious, especially since she's clearly struggling without her glasses. He gives her the simplest job he can think of: glue this, paste that. Should be easy, right? Nope. She glues the wrong sides together. He gently points her to another task across the room to save both of them from chaos. Mai reluctantly agrees but tells him to let her know when he's taking a break. Komura doesn't even have the mental bandwidth to consider the possibility that she might want to break with him. Later, when he runs out of glue, he steps out to grab more and, surprise, Mai tags along. They make it to the empty art prep room, and before he can say anything, Mai pulls him inside and shuts the door. Then she stops him from flipping the light on. She says she wants a good look at his face, just the two of them. Komura goes statue mode. He nervously suggests they go somewhere less. Sketchy, but Mai shuts that down fast. It's better where no one's around, she says. Now Komura is seriously malfunctioning. Is this why she wanted a break? He tries convincing himself he's just overthinking, but then Mai begins her scoping session. Komura figures she's doing this to calm her nerves or something, But when he sees how intensely she's looking at him, blushing harder than a pop pimple, he starts to wonder if maybe, just maybe, she really does see him as someone special. When they return to class, Azuma casually points out that Komura's entire face is covered in black smudges. At the same time, Mai's friends scream that her hands are completely black. Komura immediately starts shouting, "It's not what it looks like." But, yeah, it absolutely is. Later that evening, at home, Komura's mom suggests he get his ear pierced for the festival. He instantly shuts it down, saying he doesn't have the looks to pull it off. That's for cool guys like Azuma. Komura thinks if he tried, he'd need a paper bag to cover his face. Then, out of nowhere, Mai drops something and crouches to the floor. Komura asks what's wrong, and she says she dropped something tiny. She eventually picks it up, and Komura notices it looks like an earring. That sets off a spiral. Is she into piercings? Wait, have I ever even seen her ears? The next day in class, Komura offers to share his textbook like usual, but his brain is 100% distracted trying to catch a glimpse of the side of Mai's face. He leans in a little too far, gets caught red-handed, and brushes it off like nothing happened. Smooth, Komura. Real smooth. During art class, Mai turns to Komura and randomly says, "Wanna see my piercing?" Then immediately laughs and says she's just kidding. Komura, now fully alert, asks what she's doing with all the beads on her desk. She tells him she's using them as eyes for a flapjack octopus model she's making for the cultural festival. Komura has a full mental moment right there. This is exactly why I fell for her. He's just a plain peg with zero creativity. She's over here making octopus art and he's struggling to imagine what socks to wear. While he's having that crisis, he notices Mai holding a needle and warns her to be careful. She casually says, "Isn't it funny how piercings are so cute but still kind of scary?" Komura tells her his family's been trying to convince him to get one. She picks up a bead, presses it lightly to his ear, and says it might actually look kinda cool. Then she adds she can't say for sure, her vision's too bad to really tell. That night, Komura's back home googling how to drill a hole in your own ear without dying. The next day, festival prep continues. Mai grumbles that she can't stay late because of her strict curfew. Asuka casually suggests breaking it sometime, but Mai shoots her down immediately. "If I do that, no morning cocoa for me." Respect. Later, Asuka asks for volunteers to stay late for the 7 p.m. shift. Komura raises his hand, trying not to sound too eager. They split up to work, and just as Komura is cornered by the blonde menace, she leans in and whispers, "Suo, have you and Mai kissed yet?" Komura short circuits, but Mai pops up at just the right time, announcing that she wants to stay behind too. Komura starts spiraling. Did she lie just to walk home with me? Then he slaps his own cheeks. Duh, don't be delusional, idiot. As the two work together, Komura notices Mai seems off. She eventually admits she's never stayed at school this late before. It's kinda making her anxious. After about 30 minutes, Komura suggests she should probably start heading home soon. That's when he spots her phone on the floor, and it's lighting up like a Christmas tree. A million missed calls from her mom. When Mai returns to the gym and doesn't see Komura, she starts panicking. He's actually just hiding behind a curtain, watching her pick up her phone, and reading the mildly terrifying text messages her mom sent. Death threats, basically, but with emojis. She takes one look, grabs her things, and sprints out of the gym. Komura watches it all go down and instantly feels guilty. So what does he do? He follows her, not in a normal friend kind of way, like full-on Loki stalker mode. He watches from a distance as Mai struggles to find her shoe locker in the dark. She gives up, throws on her gym shoes, and runs off. Komura grabs her actual school shoes and immediately starts overthinking. How do I show up at her door with her shoes and not sound like a psychopath? But just as he's working through every excuse imaginable, Mai suddenly stops and cries. Komura freezes. The moment shifts. He realizes she's not just scared of her mom yelling, she's upset about disappointing someone, about losing her morning routine, about losing comfort, and Komura feels awful. He holds her shoes in his hands, heart sinking as he watches her disappear into the night. Back at Mai's place, her mom scolds her for showing up so late. Just as the lecture kicks into high gear, there's a knock at the door. When she opens it, surprise, it's Komura. He's holding Mai's school shoes and claims, with full fake sincerity, that he accidentally wore them home instead of his own. And that's why Mai was late. Totally his fault. Oops. After Komura leaves, Mai's mom calms down and tells her to go have dinner. Mission, smooth it over, complete. Komura, now walking home in the rain with soggy shoes and a fried conscience, just hopes Mai gets to enjoy her morning cocoa like always. The next day, Mai shows up to school with her glasses on. She casually mentions how they fogged up while she was sipping her cocoa. Komura silently fist pumps. Operation cover up, success. No one suspects he Loki stalked her home last night. On the day of the cultural festival, Komura stumbles across Mai's diary sitting out. Naturally, he reads it like it's holy scripture. It's filled with totally random, my core thoughts, but to Komura, it's Nobel Prize material. Next, he checks out her flapjack octopus display and melts on the spot. It's adorable, weird, and perfectly Mai. Just as he's having his moment, he hears her voice behind him and quickly walks away like a startled raccoon, trying not to look like a total creep. But then he notices something. Mai is staring at his display. Cue panic. His exhibit is literally just a basic circle, like it's giving zero effort. But somehow, Mai finds it interesting. Later, the class heads outside for a presentation. Mai slips away from the crowd, and when Komura spots her, he follows. She notices and asks if he wants to sit with her. Mai then says she read his diary too, and thought it was really thoughtful. Komura's brain immediately does a happy dance over the mutual snooping. As they sit there, Mai leans in to look at his face again. Komura glances around nervously, what if someone sees them? But Mai tells him everyone's in the gym. Komura, confused, asks why she needs to stare when she's got her glasses on today. Mai hesitates, feeling guilty, and says maybe she's being too clingy. Komura doesn't think so, he just wants to know why she likes staring at his very average face. She says it's calming. Then she adds that she'll try not to do it so often. Komura shuts that down immediately. He confesses that he actually wants to look at her too. Mai, flustered but curious, tells him to go for it. Komura gently places his hand on her cheek and looks into her eyes. He tries to hold the stare, but her beauty hits like a flashbang. He panics and pulls away. Mai giggles and says, "You're just like my dad." Komura dies a little inside. Family zoned. Brutal. She suggests they head back, leaving Komura alone with his thoughts and his honorary dad badge. After the festival, the students have to fill out a future dream survey. Mai turns to Komura and asks what he wants to be when he grows up. He panics. He has absolutely no idea. Instead of answering, he changes the subject. But Mai insists on sharing hers. She scrolls through her phone and shows him an old picture from preschool. Her childhood dream was to marry her dad. Komura sees the photo and nearly explodes from the cuteness and the sheer illegality of his current reaction. He asks how old she was, then realizes he probably needs to turn himself in. Mai, now embarrassed, says she's never showing him pictures again. Komura asks what her dream is now, and Mai says she wants to own a fish and get married, but not to her dad this time. Komura quietly sulks in his dad's own corner. Trying to change the mood, Mai brings up the charm she made for the festival and shows it to him proudly. When Komura takes a look, he squints and asks, "Did you draw a hand on it?" Mai immediately turns bright red and insists, "Why yeah, totally just a hand. Totally just a hand." Later that evening, Komura digs out his preschool photo album to find out what his childhood dream was. When he sees office workers scribbled under his smiling toddler self, he realizes something tragic. He's been dead inside since age 4. He's basically been sleepwalking through life, until he met Mai. Just then, his mom calls him for dinner, so he grabs a pen and tries to redraw whatever Mai put on her festival charm. His version looks questionable at best. His mom walks by and glances at the paper. Is that a maple leaf? Komura turns red instantly. It's a hand, he says, desperate not to admit what else it might look like. Later, he imagines Mai beside him, pictures what her charm really meant, and wonders what her version of love tastes like. It's a full-blown daydream sequence. And just like that, Komura knows what his new dream is. The next day at school, students are still filling out their future plans survey. Komura writes, "I want to be Mai's husband." Then he stares at it in horror. Too much, way too creepy. Abort mission. He tries to erase it. But of course, that's when Mai walks up and casually glances at his paper. She notices the word husband. "Who's that for?" she asks. Komura panics. "And no one in particular," he blurts out. Mai doesn't say anything, just quietly walks away. Komura dies internally. Later that day, they get paired off for cooking class. Mai ends up grouped with Azuma, which instantly causes Komura to radiate cursed energy like he's about to summon a demon. His own cooking partner looks like she wants to eat him across the kitchen. While Komura silently prays he gets to try Mai's cookie, he watches in agony as Azuma leans in close to her. In reality, Azuma's just being helpful. He's giving Mai tips on how to shape her cookie like an arcade token. Komura would probably love this, he says casually. Mai freezes. How does he know it's for Komura? Another student nearby mentions that the token machine at the arcade recently broke, and Komura looked seriously bummed about it. Mai keeps asking what Komura is like at the arcade and wonders if it's weird to make cookies shaped like coins. Azuma assures her, if it's from you, it's probably perfect. A classmate nearby mocks Mai for being slow, even with her glasses on. Mai pauses, confused. What's that supposed to mean? Azuma then shows her the cookie he's making for a girl who lives next door. Mai stares at him. "Suo, you're in simp mode too, huh?" He nods. "She's older than me. Usually wouldn't even talk to a kid like me. So I figured, this class might be my only shot." Mai asks if he's planning to confess. Azuma shrugs. If I don't now, I probably won't get another chance. Later, as Azuma leaves, Mai waves goodbye with a small smile. From a distance, Komura watches, sweating pure jealousy. Some girls walk up and ask Mai what she and Azuma were talking about. Komura can't take it anymore. He bolts from the classroom. As he storms out, Mai chases after him and grabs his hand. Komura instantly feels terrible for making her run. He gets her some water and apologizes. Mai smiles, happy she caught up to him. Then she asks quietly, "Do you think I'm slow? Even with my glasses?" Komura freezes. He doesn't want to hurt her feelings, so he awkwardly dodges the question. Mai doesn't wait for an answer. Instead, she gently shoves something into his hand, her cookie. Komura finally breathes normally again. Mai shyly says she really wanted him to have it. Komura wonders why she's acting so nervous, but then she quietly says, "I know I'm slow, but I just wanted to do something nice." Komura reassures her. Being easygoing isn't a bad thing. It's kind of what makes you, you. The silence that follows is dangerously romantic. To break it, Komura takes a bite of the cookie. "It's good," he says with a red face. Later that night, Komura desperately tries to purge the mental image of baby Mai's bridal photo from his brain. To distract himself, he starts flipping through his own childhood pictures, only to stumble across an old, extremely embarrassing one of himself mid-fall from the jungle gym. The next day at school, fate betrays him. That cursed photo slips out of his bag, and his friend snatches it up like treasure. Komura has to explain that it was from when he fell off the bar in kindergarten. Mai, curious as ever, asks to see it too, but, of course, she's blind again and can't make out anything. Silver lining. Komura decides the photo now qualifies for the Mai Shrine since she touched it so much. Historic moment. After school, the two of them walk home together and Mai asks if they can stop by the park. When they get there, she realizes she'll need her glasses and offers to run home and grab them. While she's gone, Komura stands around trying not to explode with excitement. This totally feels like an after-school date. To prepare, he decides to practice looking cool. It goes horribly. Turns out his arms have the strength of a soggy breadstick. Mai finally returns and asks to see the photo from earlier. Komura figures it's only fair since she showed him her childhood dream husband moment, but then realizes he left his bag at school. Mai looks a little disappointed, so instead, she asks him to repeat the jungle gym move that got him embarrassed in the first place. Komura mentally begs the universe to spare him, but the universe says, "Good luck, champ." He goes for it, and somehow, against all odds, he nails the move this time. Mai runs up with her phone and takes a photo of the two of them together. She offers to send it to him, but tells him not to show anyone else. Then she decides to try the bars too, but she ends up exposing herself as another noodle arm warrior. Even so, just a glimpse of her shorts is enough to give Komura a nosebleed and permanent memory damage. The next day, Mai shows up wearing her fake glasses again. She tells Komura to try them on, and he nervously does. Then, with zero chill, she asks him to take a selfie so she can see how he looks later. As she digs through her bag, though, she finds her real glasses, meaning, for once, they're officially Four Eyes twins. Mai looks way too pleased about it. The day after that, she's back to squinting through life. Honestly, Komura kind of prefers it that way. During class, one of the girls ties Mai's hair into a cute new style, and Komura's pants become slightly more dangerous. It's not about the swimsuit, he swears. It's the hair. Later at lunch, Komura notices her hair's a bit of a mess and points out there's a grain of rice stuck in it. Mai panics, and in her flailing, completely destroys the style. During their next class, her damp, frizzy hair starts leaking all over her textbook. She apologizes and says she'll just tie it up, but Komura surprises her by suggesting she try the previous hairstyle again. Mai is stunned, but happily goes to find the same friend, returning with the look perfectly recreated. Both of them seem way too happy about it. After school, Mai casually asks Komura what type of fish he likes. He says, salmon, like a normal human. She answers, flapjack octopus. There's a moment of silence. Mai suddenly looks sad. She quickly changes the subject and asks Komura what kind of clothes he likes. Before he can even answer, she cuts him off, saying, "Never mind, I'll figure it out," and walks away. Komura's left standing there like, huh. As he's about to head out too, he hears Mai bump into someone near the lockers. Naturally, he hides and listens in. Turns out, the guy's an old classmate. He greets her casually, but Mai, squinting hard, says she can't really tell who it is without her glasses on. The next day, Mai forgets her glasses. Again, Komura, now a seasoned veteran in Mai support operations, offers to share his textbook without hesitation. As they read, Mai suddenly zones out and mumbles that she's been having trouble remembering the face of an old classmate lately. She figures it's because she never wore her glasses back then, so his face never stuck. Komura freezes. He realizes he's spent most of his time with the nearsighted version of Mie, the unfiltered, blurry, forehead-touching Mie, and now he's wondering, what if she forgets my face someday too? Later, Komura and another classmate get asked to carry some art supplies for the teacher. On the way, he brings up Mie's constant forgetfulness. The girl just laughs and casually tells him, "You talk like her dad." Komura dies a little inside. Back in class, the teacher announces that entrance exams are coming up soon. Reality check incoming. After class, Mie walks over and asks Komura to head home with her. On the way, he brings up how he'll need to study hard over the break. Mie asks if that means they won't be able to hang out much anymore. Komura mentions he's also got a family trip planned, and Mie instantly deflates. Seeing her go all gloomy makes him panic, so he tells her she'll just have to actually remember her glasses when he's not around. Mie promises to try her best. The next day, Mie proudly shows up with her glasses on. Success. She tells Komura she finally found a photo of that old classmate. When he asks what the guy was like, she says he used to tease her a lot for always forgetting her glasses. "Not like you," she adds. "You're always helping me." Komura suddenly starts overthinking again. What can I do to make sure she never forgets me? After school, Mie suggests they walk home again. But something's different. They're both acting weirdly awkward, like they're stuck in a slow burn romance novel. They pass by the park and decide to stop for a bit. Mie says she wants to try the jungle gym bars again, until she realizes she forgot to wear shorts. So that plan's scrapped. Swings, also out. Skirt issues. They end up heading toward the slides. Mie climbs into the middle and tells Komura to join her. He hesitates. That part of the slide is super narrow, but Mie insists, saying it's just right. Komura squeezes in, heart pounding like a drumline. He's so close he can feel her breathing. Then Mie turns to him and softly says, "I want to look at your face, since break starts tomorrow." She gently places her hands on his cheeks and tells him, "You do it too." Komura freezes, then slowly lifts his hands and cups her face the same way. Their eyes meet, and suddenly, he realizes he's starting to want more. Later that evening, Mie sends Komura the photo she took of them at the park. He immediately regrets looking like a sweaty gremlin in it, but still, there's something about it that makes him smile. Maybe, he thinks, even if she forgets my face someday, she'll have this. When it's time for them to part ways for the school break, Mie turns to him and softly says, "Don't forget about me, okay?" Komura, heartbeat spiking, grabs her hand, and for once, actually says what he's thinking. "I want to see your face again," he says. "Tomorrow, or sometime during break." Mie lights up immediately and says she'd love that. Suddenly, we flash back to the first time they met. Komura had found Mie wandering around like a lost puppy, blind and clueless as usual. She couldn't see the popsicle stand right in front of her. Komura stepped in to help her buy one, and that tiny act kicked off everything. Back then, Mie had explained that some bratty boy in her class had stolen her glasses. When she told her dad about it, he chuckled and said, "That just means he wants to marry you." Mie thought it was the dumbest logic ever, but also kinda sweet. She turned to Komura and said, "You're really nice, like my dad. So I think my husband should be a kind boy like you." Komura never forgot those words. And honestly, at this point, he's kind of okay with being the dad-like husband figure, keeping it in the family, as they say. That's it for today's video, boys. I hope you will like this video. If you like this video, leave a comment on this video.